Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler podcast, all about Aston Villa, the world's greatest football team. Yep. Well, going to make this short, sweet. Not sure many people really want to be listening to a review of Aston Villa losing 2-0 up at Anfield. Truth is, leading up to this game, I know Villa were in brilliant form. Liverpool were in terrible form. I'm not sure there was a single Aston Villa fan who looked at this game and thought anything other than what happened tonight was going to happen. Now, the truth is, though, Villa started the game pretty well. I think for the first 25 minutes, Villa looked really good. We were largely playing out very well from the back. Liverpool weren't quite getting to grips with, I'd say, Pau Torres is playing out from the back, but also, Kamara and Onana getting on the ball. I think Kamara looked a little bit uncomfortable in possession at times, and when they were putting him under pressure. And I think Szoboszlai was brilliant tonight. I think he was really good at picking out where Villa were trying to play out from the back. I think he was a bit of a talisman for Liverpool, really. I think he really tried to, lead from the front in a way by pressing in the right places. And then when he was on the ball, trying to make things happen. But yeah, Villa for the first 20, 25 minutes were doing well. I think the hold-up play was good. Morgan Rogers looked fantastic in the first half. And we were just unlucky not to score. I mean, it's just one of them sort of games where you know what the tactics are going to be. You know it's going to be Villa are going to be the cagier team, going to look for their moments on the counter. We're going to kind of pack the defence at times, invite Liverpool onto us, hope that creates space behind them, and then work our way up the pitch from there. And we did it at times. We did. Just weren't able to take our chance in the first 20 to 25 minutes, which is a shame because, yeah, Rogers hitting the post, May Cash hitting the post, a fantastic save from Dashvili. But then, from about the 25th minute onwards, Liverpool really started to ramp up the pressure and they made it very hard for us to play out. Anytime we did play out, any time the ball went to a specific player, whether it be Rogers or Watkins or McGinn, they were kind of on top of them very, very quickly. And we just kind of had to ride out the storm, really, till the end of the half. And I think we did. I think we largely restricted Liverpool to kind of half chances, and the only real big chances they were getting were coming from our own mistakes when we were playing it out from the back. And one was when we gave it to Szoboszlai, who had a terrible finish straight at Martinez. But then you get up to half time, you think, right, all right, we've limited Liverpool here pretty well. I know Salah's actually playing very well. We've kind of not really allowed him to do too much. And then what do you know? We go and give away an absolutely disgraceful mistake just before half time. A player of that quality like Emi Martinez, his experience, the things he's won, you cannot go to Liverpool away, have a sort of tactic where you are going to sit back, you are going to sort of, defend, invite the pressure and hope to hit them on the break and, steal a win in a way. You can't just give away absolute brain dead mistake goals like that just before half time. And the die was cast from there. It just felt like Villa were never going to get back into it. Maybe we'd have got an early goal in the second half. Yeah, we could see what would happen. But when Liverpool take a lead at Anfield, they don't lose it really. And so mentally what that does to you just before half time, it's an unforgivable mistake from Martinez. It is. Everyone can make mistakes in football, and everyone does. It just happens. And Martinez, in fairness, is extremely rare. He actually does make mistakes playing it out from the back. But today, to make the mistake he made, passing it to, of all players, Mo Salah, when, the Pau Torres pass was just so simple, it's just not. It's unbelievable, really. And then from the second half, it just goes the way you expect it to. Liverpool are really riding their confidence. They come out and they're with that confidence. They're really at Villa. We're a bit down. It's hard for us to get back into the game. We're not retaining the ball in the way we should. We're not passing it out in the way we should. Looked at times like we were just waiting to give them a second goal, and kind of did. Pau Torres, of all players, passing it out straight to, a long ball straight into Van Dijk's head, and from there Ryan Gravenberch scores. Yes, there's probably enough Villa players in between the ball to stop the goal from happening. felt like Gravenberg had a little bit too much time on the ball when he was in the gap between Kamara and Onana and Concert and Powell. And then that bit of luck with the deflection off Powell, it just, what can you say then? And then, look, last 20 minutes, Villa, look, I think Liverpool probably were saving themselves for Real Madrid on Tuesday. Villa then had more chances, but it just wasn't the night, was it? Just nothing was going in. Don't know what it is. Don't know what it is about that place at Anfield. We just cannot seem to turn up there, even under Unai Emery. Obviously, Liverpool are a great team, fantastic players who can make things happen on their day. But I think Villa went with the game plan. First 25 minutes, it was working really well. But then from there, passing out from the back, it's how we play. You could argue maybe Villa should have gone more direct tonight. Maybe should have had an idea about how to do that. It's difficult to go more direct when you've got Konate and Van Dijk just heading it away continuously. Maybe therefore you aim more towards the wings. Maybe for like McGinn to go one-on-one with Conor Bradley. Maybe that could have been something we tried a little bit more. Just looking at general performances, I think Onana actually did pretty well. I think it was a second really good CM performance in a row from him, really. I think, people might disagree. I thought he played quite well. And I think he was better tonight than Kamara was on the ball. I think Rodgers looked excellent, particularly first half. He looks like he's right back at it. Hopefully that will continue for the next few weeks. Sancho looked bright when he came on. He's got to be getting a start soon. He's got to be getting a start. Konsa was excellent in large part. I think Liverpool did a good job. I've been talking for the last few weeks about how opposition teams have to work out a way to stop Pau Torres from playing out from the back. City couldn't do it last week. I think Liverpool did a good job on that tonight. They've always done a good job on it, to be honest. I can remember 2 years ago when Pau Torres made a mistake very early in the game against Liverpool, and they went and scored very early on. It seems to be a place where Pau, we don't see the best of him. Something Unai's got to work out, just eventually one day. It's very difficult up there, that place. I think the more frustrating aspect is knowing Liverpool have been in such bad form and feeling in our hearts that we knew this was coming. Just did. I just don't know what it is. But the good thing about Villa is that, when we have setbacks, we tend to bounce back very quickly. Got Maccabi Tel Aviv on Thursday. That's a game surely Villa look at and think at home, it's one we've got to win. And then Bournemouth at home a few days later. We're an absolutely lethal team at home. Iraola's record, I know Bournemouth are playing really well this season, but Iraola's record against Unai Emery generally isn't very good. So that's one I think that Villa, yes, it's harder, faster, stronger. Bournemouth are really hard to play against. They really are. Thursday to Sunday, you might feel it in the legs a little bit in the last 20 minutes of that game. But it's a game, Villa at home, we can beat anyone, and we've got to aim to bounce back really quickly. And, as I say, we've been on a brilliant run. The last 3 games, Tottenham away, City at home, Liverpool away. 6 points out of that, you'd have taken that. You'd have more than taken that. So particularly with the form that we had been in previously, Villa are in a really good place. Tonight was just an off night. It can happen at Anfield. And yeah, I think if I'm to pick out 1 or 2 performances that I didn't love, Ollie Watkins, I think we got to start asking a few questions now at the moment. His goal scoring record since about March isn't good. And tonight, he looked like a man who at times, and he's always had a tendency to look like this. When it's not quite gone his way, he looks like a man who's had his life sucked out of him. Like the weight of the world's on him. There were good things he did at times, and he did really well when he came on against Tottenham. He did really well running Man City's defense. He still does all of that stuff very well. It's just he's got to refine the goals, like, because there's not, you need your striker to score your goals, and there's only so long Villa are going to get away with a striker who isn't scoring and relying on the likes of Rodgers and Marlon to start scoring, because Gesson's not scoring either. And I think tonight Gesson looked really poor. Um, if I'm to pick, I just thought I don't really know what he was offering tonight. I mean, I've praised him recently. I think defensively his contributions have been really good. I think last week when he came on against City, when he was rolling the defence, he was dragging Villa up the pitch. He played really well. He's had some bright moments for Villa, but I think the one thing he's not adapted to yet, and I think there was a really clear example of that in the first half, he seems to play as if he has an extra second on the ball. It's like he's playing in another league. It's like he's not playing in the Premier League. In the Premier League, you get no time on the ball at all, and you got to speed up. And there was a moment tonight where Morgan Rogers put this absolutely genius flick over the Liverpool defence for Gesson to run. If Gesson had had any kind of speed of thought about him, he'd have run direct at the goal and hit a shot. Instead, he's sort of ambling towards the goal, allows Conor Bradley to get back. It's just speed up, man. Right? Speed up. Now, Unai Emery plays him a lot, so Unai Emery clearly appreciates his talents and clearly sees there's more to come from him. He persisted with Leon Bailey when he was playing really poorly, and then Bailey just went stratospheric and was fantastic in Unai Emery's second season at Villa. But at the moment, Gesson, he's got to pick it up a bit. I think going forward, I think he's got to show a bit more. He's got to have a bit more speed in how he operates. I think at the moment it's too laconic. And tonight was not his best showing. But look, Unai keep playing him. Eventually, you got to hope it will click. I think Sancho looked really bright, and I think it's not the first time this season Sancho looked really bright. Yes, he's coming on when Liverpool aren't really pressing as hard as they were in the first 70 minutes. So it's not the hardest point in the game that he's going to be playing in. But it's just the way when he gets the ball, you feel he's going to do the right thing. You think he's going to make the right pass. You think he's going to just cut inside and maybe take a shot or put a ball in or make a clever pass that cuts, defenders out, and that created a really good chance for Ross Barkley. I think it's getting harder to argue against Sancho getting starts soon, and I guess that would mean putting Rodgers in the 10, McGinn on the right, and Sancho on the left. Certainly, think that's something we're going to start seeing soon. But yeah, bright again from Sancho. Look, it's not. Everybody hates losing, don't we? No one enjoys this. But it's Liverpool, isn't it? They're title winners. Gravenberch was back. I think he made a difference for them. Unfortunately, we just are the type of team who go there and for some reason can't ever seem to get it done up there. And yeah, again, we haven't got the job done. Had a chance gone in early doors, might have changed the complexion of the game. And had Emi Martinez not made an absolutely obscene mistake just at the complete wrong point of the game, who knows? Maybe we could have. I think we would have just carried on second half, holding out, looking for moments to break away, and we maybe would have done it. Maybe we would, but that mistake killed us, and that's the bottom line. But like I said earlier, Villa always bounce back quickly from setbacks. And we've got a chance to do that against Maccabi Tel Aviv on Thursday. And we've got a chance to do that against Bournemouth, who are going to be right up for it. But it's Villa at home. We shouldn't be afraid of anybody. Richard Grosvenor, good to see you, mate. Ollie Watkins, not great. No, he's not great at the moment. It's like there's certain aspects of his game that are looking, good, his usual self. His usual physical self. He puts himself about, stretches to play. He played really well against City last week, for instance. But he played really well when he came on against Spurs 2 weeks ago. But he needs to start scoring again soon. Because, like I said, Villa, at some point, it's going to be a problem that Villa striker isn't scoring. Because there's only so long that other players are going to pick up the slack. And Watkins has picked up the slack for years. But he's got to get his act together quickly in front of goal. Because, it's quite a long time now. It's dragging on, and he's a far better player than that. And in a World Cup year, he doesn't want to lose his place in the England team. Rob Hatton, striking need in January, no cutting edge. If I'm honest, the thing I would love to see at Villa, and maybe you and I, Emery, would totally disagree with this and think that it's just not something that suits the dynamic of our team. But something I've long said I want to see at Villa is a kind of a back to goal striker who holds it up. So if Villa go direct and can smack a ball into the striker, if Pau Torres does a long ball into a striker along the floor, or there's a long ball in the air up to the striker, I would like to see a striker who maybe can't move as well as Watkins can, but can hold it up a little more consistently and drag players into the game. I think that's a dynamic. It'd be great if Villa had a striker who, if you had Watkins and a striker like that, you've got two very different players who can offer something different. And, Mateta's a fantastic example of that sort of a striker. It's very hard to find a Mateta, but, Joshua Zirkzee at United, I think, for example, is a player like that. Maybe they don't score loads and loads of goals, but they do drag other players into the game and by holding the ball up. And I think at times Villa look like a team in the final third who could just do with a player who does that a little more consistently. But it's not me getting at Watkins here. I think Watkins is he's been a great player for Villa. But yeah, there's no getting away from the fact that this is not catastrophizing. It's just a black and white fact. He's not scoring enough. He's got to start scoring soon. Richard Skinner, I really don't get. Gesson, not a Premier League player, doesn't actually want the football, which is unforgivable. Why is he starting? I think that's a little harsh. I think Gesson's had some bright moments. I think you can see some aspects of his game. Tracking back defensively, it's really helping Cash. I think Cash played really well tonight, actually. But Gesson has to do more going forward, and he has to pick up the speed of his game. He's that ball over the top from Rodgers was fantastic. And if that had been Sancho on the ball, I think Sancho runs direct at goal and gets a shot away or gets a cut back to Watkins or whoever. He was way too laconic on that ball, and that was really frustrating. And that is something he's done quite a bit going forward, I think. But, with Leon Bailey in that first half season with Unai Emery, wasn't great. Unai persisted. Then he became an absolute world beater. And, Gesson showed what a talent he is in France last season. He's got to pick it up a bit quicker. Just get quicker, I think, is what I would say. I think tonight that was a really good example of it tonight. That run on goal. Liverpool fan, good game, lads. I've never been more scared before a game than this. Good to see you, mate. Thank you for that nice comment. Liverpool, mad the form they've been. I think Gravenberch's return probably will help Liverpool no end. And, I think a few players looked a little bit closer to being back in form. I thought Salah looked really sharp tonight. Gave Dean a really tough game. Very rare players give Luka Dean a tough game. The thing I saw with Salah, something that it tweaked in my head when John McGinn was going one-on-one with Conor Bradley and giving Conor Bradley a nightmare physically. Salah is like John McGinn in that way. They're very similar in the sense of how they're built. Yeah, Salah doesn't have the big booty, that sort of Eden Hazard booty, but it's the way they back in and physically just out-muscle players by rolling you. Very similar in that way, actually. But Salah, yeah, he looked a bit more like the Salah of last season than he has this season. He was really good. Songs 4K, Rodgers and Cash for Villa's real threats, but lost control in midfield. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think Rodgers was excellent. Cash did really well. Again, he's doing really well at the moment. Shame he couldn't get a goal with that awesome shot that deflected off Van Dijk. Great save from Mohamed Dashvili. Cash going forward as well into the final third. He was putting some good balls in. Just a shame one of them couldn't land on a Villa player's head. But yeah, I think that's correct. I think they were the big threat, and I think it's part of me wonders what it would have been like if Sancho had been on for the first to start instead of Gesson. Yeah, I do wonder about that. But I think the plan was to get McGinn on the left to track Conor Bradley and to double up on Salah, which I think worked pretty well first half. And then Gesson out on the right. Maybe Sancho could have played on the right. He did at Dortmund. Dr. Ali, good to see you again, mate. Well, we are allowed one off night. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's Anfield away. It happens. Almost every team's going to have. Arsenal lost there this season. Arsenal riding high at the top of the Premier League. They lost. It can happen. It can happen there, can't it? Dennis Farrell played with 10 men for an hour. I guess Son is not prem standard. Ollie doesn't look interested. Poor performance. I think Ollie is interested. I think it's more that the weight of the world is on his face, so he looks like the joy's been sucked out of him. That's just his body language, as it kind of always has been. When things aren't really quite going his way, but he always keeps going. Guessand is not probably. I think, like I said earlier, I think Guessand. We just got to give him time, but I think Sancho's pushing for a start now. Songs 4K. Watkins 18 touches in 74 minutes. Yeah, not very involved, was he? I think a physical presence at the top, who backed to goal against those two defenders, would have been probably quite helpful. Const was brilliant yet against his HD. Yeah, he was. He was exceptional. But for one moment where he gave the ball away, but I thought Const was brilliant. Again, he looks like he's a world-class defender. I've been saying it for years. I was mocked about it 4 years ago for saying it. I think I've been proven absolutely right. I do. I get a lot wrong, but on that, I think I was right. I think he's brilliant. Neil Andrew, how hopeless was McGinn tonight but playing that position? I thought McGinn was good. I thought he physically gave Connor Bradley real headaches tonight. I think he tracked really well coming back. Yeah, I think he was one of our better players, actually, McGinn. But fair enough. Everyone has their own opinion on it. We all see it differently. No one doesn't mean anyone's right or wrong. Why do we play a game of death each time at the back? It's stressful watching Villa. Yeah, there were times tonight you thought maybe we should have just maybe knocked it long into a McGinn on Bradley rather than direct into a Watkins. If we were going to go direct, that was probably what, or into Guessand on Andy Robertson. Try and get something going that way instead of, because at times playing it out from the back, yeah, we had some problems doing that tonight. I think Szoboszlai was really, really good at pressing tonight, and Salah cutting off the passing channels for Powell. But I think Szoboszlai was deserved man of the match. I think he tried to make things happen when he was on the ball, and I think his intelligence at pressing Villa, jumping on Kamara and then stepping up to Powell, I think that was a really, really top performance from Szoboszlai. I really do. Bowl the villain. I went to Weymouth today and saw C anemones and more backbone than we've shown tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that mistake killed us. I think it was the mistake that killed us. Game's done. Not a good result, but I think we'll do well this season. Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll do really well. I think we're in a really good place. Just bounce back quickly. That's what we got to do. Danny, Frankie, Emmy should have gone pre-season. Prone to mistakes now. Past his best. Our biggest issues. We've got no wingers now. Yeah. Emmy. Yeah, there were signs last season that he wasn't at his absolute best. He was making more mistakes than he had done previously. He doesn't tend to make mistakes passing out from the back. But tonight was a shocking mistake. Shocking. And you just cannot do that at Anfield. You just can't. And he's made a couple of big ones and big games in last year. He has PSG. That was another one. Yeah. Repeat. Can't gift a team like Liverpool a goal, particularly on their turf. A bit disappointing was the reaction. Didn't see a revolt to offset the error and come back. Yeah. Can't gift it to go like that. I think that's the way to say it. Yeah. So I am gonna have to head off now. Just get down to spot and see if there's just one or two. David McKenzie, I think that's a Liverpool fan. You guys are a decent team. You just met us on a very hungry day. Yeah, just a day where it didn't quite go our way in Liverpool. Gravenberch back. I think it made a big difference for you. And Liverpool, I think they'll be over that hump now. They'll kick on. They're better than what they've shown recently. Steve Brianna, this one is on Emmy. Yeah, it is. It is. That mistake it's him. Yeah, not good. SR Campbell, I thought it was a pretty even game, which is promising. Momentary errors are undoing. Shane Mings went off. Yeah, all of that. All of that. Yeah, we did. Liverpool's XG won't be high tonight. We didn't really give them many chances. We did play our game plan pretty well defensively. Just had to ride out the storm from 25 minutes to half time. I think we just had to get through that patch. Almost did, and then feck me, Emmy. Bloody hell. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Villa will bounce back. We always do from setbacks. We always do. On to Maccabi Tel Aviv and on to Bournemouth. Up the mighty Villa.